present, SWAT commandos are present. There is a lot that is happening. More than 16 years after the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks that claimed 166 lives, Bharat has secured the custody of Tahawwur Rana. The NIA is set to take the 26/11 plotter into custody. The Indian government has appointed Advocate Narendra Maan as a special public prosecutor for this case. Authorities have confirmed that high security cells have been prepared in both Tihar Jail in Delhi and Arthur Road Prison in Mumbai to house this high-risk detainee. Tahawwur Rana is expected to be presented virtually before the special NIA judge. He is likely to be lodged in jail number 2 in Tihar. Tahawwur Rana was a crucial piece and continues to remain a crucial piece of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, and his role was revealed by terrorist David Coleman Headley, who highlighted how Tahawwur Rana was key for the recce operations as a deer. And let's take a quick deep dive as per the NIA charge sheet. Rana and Headley met at a cadet college in Attock district in Pakistan. Rana stayed in touch with Headley after moving to Canada in 1997. Rana got Canadian citizenship in 2001 and soon moved to Chicago. The NIA says Rana started an immigration agency as a front for terror operations. Tahawwur Rana stayed in touch with David Coleman Headley, who attended LET terror training camps. Headley first came to Mumbai on September 14, 2006 to conduct a recce. Headley changed his name from Daood Gilani to David Headley to enter Bharat. Rana got Headley a 5-star multi-entry visa from the Indian consulate in Chicago. Rana helped Headley open a branch of First World Immigration Services in Mumbai. Headley used the immigration business as a cover to survey spots in Mumbai. Headley made 8 trips to Mumbai, preparing maps of areas targeted by the LET. Headley relayed this information from recce operations to Tahawwur Rana over calls and emails, and after each visit to Mumbai, David Coleman Headley travelled to Pakistan to brief his handlers. During a visit in 2007, David Headley stayed at the Taj, Oberoi, Trident and videotaped the entire layout of these areas. March 2008, Headley took a boat and he took boat trips at the Mumbai harbour to identify a landing site. In fact, Tahawwur Rana even came to Bharat just days ahead of the Mumbai terror attack, and according to the NIA charge sheet, this detail will now be presented to the courts too. November 13, 2008, Rana arrives in Delhi days ahead of the terror attacks. Rana posed as an immigration consultant during his visit to Bharat. Rana visited Meerut, Ghaziabad, Agra and Cochin before heading to Mumbai. Rana surveyed Jalvayu Vihar housing complex in Mumbai for possible attack. The plan to attack the housing complex was dropped as it was far from the landing site. Rana then left Bharat on the 21st of November, 5 days before the attack on 26th of November 2008. And as per details from the NIA, it is clear that Tahawwur Rana was a central planner, the mastermind behind the 26/11 terror attack, with close links to ISI and also nexus with the Lashkar and Jaish. The extradition success was even hailed by Home Minister Amit Shah at the Rising Bharat Summit 2025.
तहव्वुर राना का जो है एक्स्ट्राडिशन जो है हो रहा है, वो कुछ दिनों में यहाँ आ जाएंगे. क्या डेविड हेडली के लिए भी हम ये वो करेंगे? कुछ उम्मीद है कि वो भी?
देखिए, मोदी सरकार का प्रयास है कि जिन लोगों ने भी भारत की जमीन, भारत का सम्मान और भारत के नागरिकों के साथ दुर्व्यवहार भी किया है, वो हमारे कानून के जद में लाना चाहिए. और मैं मानता हूं तब राणा की यहां वापिस आना ये मोदी सरकार की कूटनीति का बहुत बड़ी सफलता है
जी.
तो क्योंकि जिनके समय में जब बम धमाके हुए वो तो ला नहीं पाए, मगर आज वो वापिस आएगा, हमारी अदालत के सामने पेश होगा, हमारे संविधान के तहत उसको सजा होगी. ये देश के लिए बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है.
Well, even as Pakistan is trying to distance itself from Rana, top intelligence sources have told CNN News 18 that the ISI can't deny their involvement in 26/11 because Tahawwur Rana and David Coleman Headley hail from the prestigious Hassan Abdal Military College. The school's alumni network includes military officers and extremists like Alias Kashmiri who are linked to the Al-Qaeda and the LET. Tahawwur Rana was close to Major Iqbal of the ISI, who coordinated the Mumbai attacks, and Sajid Mir. His extradition to Bharat now offers a chance to unravel deeper state-sponsored terror links. Now, while his custody is a huge win on the diplomatic side and in the fight for justice for the 26/11 victims, the larger question is, can he blow the lid off the terror infrastructure operating from Pakistan? Joining us now is the former DGP of Kerala and also one of the founding members of the NIA, Sri Loknath Behra. Loknath Behra ji, namaste. This is Anand Narsimhan. Thank you for speaking with us here at CNN News 18. My first question to you, the extradition of Tahawwur Rana, him landing on in Bharat and now being tried by our courts. How significant is this?
See, this extradition is very significant because in 2011 we had laid a charge sheet before before the NIA Special Court in Delhi against Tahawwur Hussain Rana in absentia. This was actually a kind of you can say a risk we took in absentia. Even without interrogating him, we laid a charge sheet. We could not get the access to Rana, unlike we got it for Headley. And during the interrogation of Headley, he has also spoke very clearly about the role of Rana, which is there in the interrogation report, which is in public domain. Now, what has happened is that he is a very important conspirator, and we all believed that he knew everything. But he posed in such a way and he acted in such a way to conceal everything. For example, opening an office in Mumbai only to facilitate the visit and stay of Headley in Mumbai is his brainchild. And he did that, and he also travelled quite a bit, including he came to Cochin, where I am staying now.
Okay.
So it is very important for us that not that he is only a charge-sheeted person, that's why extradition has taken place, but when he comes here, when he is being actually confronted with the evidence and being interrogated, maybe that new facts will come, new players may also crop up. I will not be surprised that some other actually people will come out where they have also played direct or indirect role in this great conspiracy, which actually culminated in the death of 162 people.
Loknath Behra ji, when you interrogated David Coleman Headley, what was the role that he said Tahawwur Hussain Rana played? Because Rana has been convicted in the past in the 2009 Mickey Mouse project also in Denmark.
See, if you go by the legal history, and he was convicted by the American court for the Denmark episode, but he was acquitted for the Mumbai episode. But actually that time, see, there are so many other things which were collected by Indian investigators in respect of Rana, including doing forgery and all kind of things he has done to establish himself as an innocent. Even if he caught, he can always say that yes, he was doing a legitimate business. So what we did is that his role was to as a big facilitator for David Coleman Headley. So had he not been there, then it would have been very difficult for David Coleman Headley to come and actually do the recce the way he did it, and which became handy for the attackers. So he is very crucial. But in the process, also one thing is to be actually found out. He also travelled quite a bit in India from one place to the other. Why? In the garb of, say, recruiting people for overseas employment, but whether that was actually his purpose or he was doing something else, we do not know. Actually, say for example, if you remember that time there were a lot of actually media reports, etc., saying that why Rana came to Cochin. Cochin is a very strategically important place. So whether he was doing some recce, but we don't have any answer because we never confronted him. Therefore, those particular parts also can be brought out in the larger conspiracy case which has been charge sheeted in NIA court.
Loknath Behra ji, another aspect is this concept of OGWs, which has become a nomenclature with Jammu and Kashmir. But is there a larger role that Tahawwur Rana and his likes could have played in masterminding attacks? If an Ajmal Kasab was a pawn, were these the facilitators, the radical minds who were not just plotting, but perhaps also aiding, abetting other attacks? Could this also lead to those insights, his extradition?
See what happens, we have the experience, those people who are attackers, they are the front end. The back end in a terrorist case are more crucial. They are the planners, they are the funders, they are the facilitators. So Rana, he was having a jihadi mind, he was a friend of Headley, and he had a link with state actors, etc., etc. That is all there in public domain. But the question is that those things which are not known, suppose you think that he was actually planning something else. Say, it is said that Headley did a recce of NDC and went to Pushkar and made a statement about Kumbh Mela. All kind of things are there in his report. But we don't have such things as far as Rana is concerned. So think for it theoretically, Rana is a separate entity and he is a radicalized person. He was having also his own agenda. Then what happens? Then we must know what he was trying to do and whether there were any other facilitator or co-conspirators working with him, independent of Headley. That is actually the challenge before the investigating agencies.
So many years later, to do something like this, to get him is not such a big deal. 17 years later, too much water under the bridge. Do you agree when people say he's a silver bullet and that our investigators do not have much against Tahawwur Rana to get him the trial that he deserves or the punishment that he deserves?
No, I would say that, see, just think of a situation had he not been extradited. Then what would have happened? I always say, okay, extradition takes time. See, we did a lot of extraditions. So in my career, I have done more than 10 extraditions. All the extraditions take time because it is a judicial process. Even appellate jurisdictions are invoked. Now, in this case, he has gone twice to the Supreme Court of US. So it takes time because it is a judicial state-to-state process. So therefore, see, getting him is a great achievement for Government of India. For that, all the MHA, all the persons directly, indirectly involved, even the top people, they should be complimented. It is not an easy task to convince another country that you extradite. So it is a very, very great achievement, and it has come late. Okay, 14 years it has taken after the charge sheet, but it has come.
What happens next, if you could tell our viewers? The step-by-step process, and how soon before we hear his
see what
he's
happened.
Brought to justice?
See what. See, when he comes here, he has to be actually officially arrested inside India, number one. Then actually he has to be produced before a court of law, or it can be actually the court, it can be in camera also because of security implications. Then what happens is that then the agency, first will be, I think, NIA, because he's coming to Delhi. So what will happen is that they will ask his custody for custodial interrogation, and the court will consider that application and court will give this custody And during that particular custody time, so this custody time can be for 14 plus 40, around 30 days in
Ji.
2 or 3 installments as the NIA wants, because it is under UAPA. Then what happens is that they will collect various actually statements, etc., and they will verify those statements by conducting investigation to make those as evidence. Because what he will speak will not be evidence, but what they that will be information that will be converted into evidence, and those evidence will be then put it in a supplementary charge sheet and filed before the court with a prayer that he should be tried. This is to be done by the NIA for the larger conspiracy in Mumbai attack and other plan to attack various installations. The Bombay police also will do the same thing. When they will take the remand of this person by a court order from Bombay, and they will actually again do the same thing. They will also collect informations and they will convert them as evidence and then put a supplementary charge sheet and pray for the trial. The trial will be an open trial. This will be then it is up to, then after the trial is over, the punishment will be decided.
Do you see any internal hurdles about who gets jurisdiction, where should he be tried, or can both processes work simultaneously? Question part 1. Part 2, what under your understanding is he culpable of, and what is it under the current Nyaya Sanhita that that the investigating authorities will push for?
See, actually what happens is that there are now 2 jurisdictional courts. One is the NIA Special Court in Delhi, where the charge sheet was filed. Similarly, there is their jurisdictional court has taken cognizance of that, because they have filed a charge sheet against, if I am correct, they filed it against Rana in 2023 or something. So these 2 are 2 separate courts, and these 2 offences are also little different. So it is maybe actually correct to have 2 trials, but in the event the legal pundits, the Office of the Attorney General or the Solicitor General, they decide that it should be clubbed, because there are certain things which are actually same, or except for a little bit of extra here and there, can be clubbed to a one special court to be constituted and under the direction of the Honorable Supreme Court. Then it can be done in one trial. But as I see right now, there will be 2 trials.
Loknath Behra ji, thank you very much for your inputs and for making the time to speak with us here at CNN News 18. And you've also led to bear the entire process that is going to be followed. Let's go across now, and joining us live now is Major General Abhay Gupta, the IG Ops NSG, who during the 26/11 Mumbai operations, and he was the one who led Operation Black Tornado. Major General Abhay Gupta, namaste, Jai Hind. This is Anand Narasimhan here. Thank you for your time, sir.
Jai Hind and namaskar to you and all the audience who's with us today. Thank you for inviting me.
My first question, Major General Abhay Gupta ji, is what is the significance of Tahawwur Rana's extradition, his arrival on Bharatiya soil 17 years after the incidents and nearly a decade plus since the charge sheet was filed?
Well, to me it is a matter of great satisfaction, and to see our mother country, Mother India, moving in with its might. I was part of the first responders towards the security threat posed through the designs of this man and Headley, in cahoots with their handlers in Pakistan and lashkar-e-taiba. So to me, when I see this, it brings back the horror that we met when we entered Taj and Oberoi hotels and when we entered Nariman House, the blood, the gore and the maimed bodies of the victims. And also I recall the majority of victims at the railway station who suffered because of their evil designs. So it's a matter of great satisfaction that we are able to close this loop and bring to book all those who conspired against our nation, India.
I'm not sure if you heard Loknath Behra ji, who was speaking with us just before you joined us live, but he said that there are pawns, there are those who are the executors of a master plan. But the larger game is to get hold of these masterminds, because they are the ones who can repeatedly plot such attacks. Do you think Tahawwur Rana's extradition, his trial here, will help unearth who are these masterminds?
In a manner of speaking of processes, let us first look at how this process is implemented by our adversaries. If you recollect, names of people from ISI had cropped up.
Yes.
So there is that layer built in between the ISI headquarters and the person nominated to handle such issues. Then this person gets in touch with the terrorist organization, LET in this case, and then he creates the first, or rather it becomes the second link in the chain. Then those persons get people to plan it out.
Ji.
That is the third link. Now here in this case there is a duality. I presume Rana was the principal handler between Canada and America, and Headley was brought in. It was good fortune for them that both had studied in the same school, so they enjoyed an old friendship and relationship. Now you see the pattern here.
Ji.
Rana is giving the finances. Rana is perhaps passing on the instructions which he receives from back home, home meaning Pakistan or wherever, LET, and then Headley is the person put forward. So Headley is sent to Mumbai, he opens an office that creates his ability to move around and to have an authenticity without drawing any suspicion. So much so that he checked into the Taj hotels at least thrice. Now I happened to work in Taj as head of security after retirement, and I went through his sort of records, and I realized that it was done in such a nice manner, nobody was suspicious of him. Now from here let's take a roll forward. When we roll it forward, then we have the terrorist organization and the people they have recruited. Now Kasab is on record in saying that he went through 3 stages of training. So after the basic stage he was picked up, and then they screened him, and then he was further picked up. Having been further picked up, he was not only trained on explosives, weapons, entries into buildings, etc., but also in seamanship. So they were trained as to how to be in a boat, how to handle whatever minimum required. So now you have gone into the next link, and on top of them is somebody within the organization of LETs who's handling them, whose intercepts are with the government of India and the intelligence agency during the operation itself. So much so that I was sitting outside Nariman House when we did the heliborne operations, and I was informed by the intelligence people that the handler there is telling him that shoot down the helicopter, and the terrorist answering, we can't move because we are pinned down with such heavy fire through the windows and doors. So there was a live minute-to-minute guidance coming from Pakistan. Now that is the degree of sophistication that they have developed in this organization. And then of course they manifested as the horror that they created and mayhem in 26/11. And surrounding all this is the beautiful factor of complete deniability. Pakistan has perhaps already started saying this man is a Canadian.
Yes, I was about to come to that.
So you see this system. Please see this system. It is a very well coordinated system. A plan which was put into place over 2 years. Out of the blue, NSG is told to go and respond. They had all photos, they had made mock models, both sand model type, paper model. They practiced in buildings which looked like that. We had nothing. We just had our training and our anticipated sort of perceptions of how a future operation will develop. So that is the kind of difference when you look at both the sides combating in Mumbai.
Major General Abhay Gupta, if I may ask you, you said this moment, it's bringing back some vivid memories from what happened at that time. One of the questions is, was our response slow? Could we have moved faster, and would that have resulted in saving more lives?
That is a point which has been debated a number of times, and there are a lot of exposés about it. If it is studied in correct perspective, you had a state government involved. The state government took a decision based on what the local police was giving input. Initially, the police felt it was not a terrorist attack. They took time to assimilate that no, it is not a sort of a gang war, and then they requested for help. The state then requested the local authorities of the military, who requested them to approach the ministry. In the process, it got escalated to Ministry of Home, and Ministry of Home then did their decision making. Please remember, at that point in time, our Home Secretary was away in Pakistan for an international meeting. So when the top man who's coordinating is away, there is bound to be a little, slippage or whatever delay you may say, and then they decided to launch the NSG. Now that was the decision-making process. Now NSG in turn, surprisingly, I was also out from my base Delhi. Actually, I was put on sick leave for a month, so I was on sick leave, and on that night of 26th, I had gone to Dehradun because next day I was to address in the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. So physically, I was in Dehradun that night. So on TV, I also saw it. I contacted my DG, I contacted my staff officers and subordinates, and I started passing instructions from there. And physically, I could move only next day morning and land up in Bombay by afternoon of 27th, around 12:30 or so. That notwithstanding, the NSG had already started their preparatory drills.
Right.
So the troops were earmarked, vehicles were getting loaded, and then they moved. Now it is a physical reality which created a bottleneck in the form of the toll gate between Gurgaon and Delhi. So while the roads were cleared, the congestion at the toll gates also delayed them. And they reached Palam. Now Palam, they loaded the aircraft, and the aircraft had been positioned. It was refueling. As you would be aware, each flight is refueled as per the load and distance requirements. And so they took off roughly around 2:30 or so. Honorable Home Minister that time, Mr. Patil, also came on board. My DG, Mr. Dutt, J.K. Dutt, he also was on board. My immediate subordinate, Brigadier Sisodia, who was DIG operations, he was on board. The CEO of the unit, Colonel Shoran, 51 SAG, he was on board, and they took off. They landed around 4:30, and then they moved to the police control headquarters, where the top hierarchy of NSG was briefed. And finally around 6:30 they took over. Now this delay factor in decision making, physical movement, positioning of aircraft and so on, and landing there, then even that they were carted, they were moved through buses and all. These are matter of details which we can keep nitpicking. But the fact of the matter is that nobody expected this kind of a situation, and I think to their best of abilities they did it.
But do you also feel, as you look back...
One more point to remember is...
please complete.
Okay. I said one more point to remember is that the major damage was done at the Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus and the hospital. And by around 10:30, 11, Kasab had been intercepted, and Kamble, with his great bravery, I must say, I mean, I can sort of take a little pride in his being an ex-serviceman of the army. He physically handled that man, took bullets, but did not let him go. So the major portion of that part was over. It was only in the two hotels and in Kabad House that the terrorists were still running loose. Till the Marcos came. So the Navy Marcos also came in, and they were able to sort of bring caution to the minds of these terrorists, and the situation improved a bit. And then, of course, around 6:30 in the morning, we took over the situation from them and carried out the operations.
My final question, Major General Abhay Gupta, do you believe we could have pressed a little more with respect to extradition? The effort and the intent that's been shown in the recent years could have been shown soon after 26/11?
I'm sorry, I did not catch the question properly.
But my question is, do you think we could have pressed a little more aggressively as a nation with the extradition and also trying to get a hand on these
Yes.
these villains?
See, the point is, please see the cutout systems. So the first person you laid hand on was Kasab.
Yes.
Through him we learnt about Headley. And till Headley's case got some kind of a finalization, we were still sort of not able to lay directly hands on Rana. So therefore, I think it was pursued. It was pursued very vehemently, very consistently, and as I think I heard my predecessor say, it is a great achievement for our diplomacy and for the total might of the Indian state that they have moved a big nation like America to cough out this man and let him be brought to Indian soil to be tried through the Indian law as per the Constitution of India. However, I am not an expert on this domain, so I can't really critically point out the finer aspects.
Ji. Major General Abhay Gupta, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for speaking with us and sharing your insights and also your understanding of the current situation. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you and Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. Thank you. On that note, we're going to quickly try and go across to Anshul. Anshul, it's been quite a wait outside the Palam airport. What is happening? Is there a possibility that after the NIA confirms that they have secured his arrest and that he is now within the NIA custody officially off the plane, is there a medical checkup going, and is it a possibility that he may be virtually presented to the court from the airport itself and taken directly to Tihar? Is that a possibility?
Well, that is a very rare possibility at this point in time. What sources who are inside this airport are confirming to us that the last steps of the paperwork is underway. By 8 p.m. sharp is the time that they have been told that NIA teams along with Tahawwur Rana will leave from the NIA, from the Palam Technical Airport, and it is seeming like that they will go straight towards the Patiala House Court because the medical examination is something that can be done inside the airport itself. You just need a doctor. The doctor checks your blood pressure, your body temperature, and if at all there are any injury marks before the arrest is happening. So that entire procedure could actually happen inside the terminal itself, and from here it is likely that they could directly go towards Patiala House Court, where he will be physically produced. As a colleague Ananya has been reporting from over there, that the legal team of the NIA has reached over there. The judge who is supposed to hear this hearing is also present inside the court. So it is expected that there could be a physical hearing that could happen today. But the information that we can confirm to our viewers that by 8 p.m. sharp, the cavalcade, the motorcade of NIA carrying Tahawwur Rana will leave from here and could go straight towards the Patiala House Court.
Well, thank you for your inputs, Anshul. We'll try and continue to track this, but there is also politics afoot. On the one hand, the BJP with Amit Malviya taking to social media and X, saying that kudos to the diplomacy and the continuous relentless pursuit of these plotters by the Modi Sarkar, that we see Tahawwur Rana back in Bharat. And on the other hand, there is Prithviraj Chavan of the Congress party who said that if you gave Ajmal Kasab a fair trial, you must give Tahawwur Rana one too. No kangaroo courts on this one, he says. Well, who should be blamed? Was there political lethargy that's resulted in this delay? We'll talk and debate that, plus get you the latest updates after a very short break. Stay with us.
What smart is?
Walk us through your thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know. They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. A deal's going to be made with China. A deal's going to be made with every one of them. And there'll be fair deals. I just want fair. There will be fair deals for everybody. But they weren't fair to the United States. They were sucking us dry, and you can't do that. Bond market is very tricky. I was watching it, but if you look at it now, it's beautiful. The bond market right now is beautiful. But yeah, I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy. I think everything had, well, the big move wasn't what I did today. The big move was what I did on Liberation Day.
More than 16 years after the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks that claimed 166 lives, Bharat has secured the custody of Tahawwur Rana. Now politics has erupted. Amit Malviya has now taken to Twitter and said Tahawwur Hussain Rana, one of the key players linked to 26/11 Mumbai attacks, will now face trial under the Indian law for waging war against our people. This decisive step wouldn't have been possible without the unwavering resolve of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. After 26/11, any self-respecting government should have responded with strength and fury. Instead, the Congress government chose to appease, driven by its obsession with Muslim vote bank politics, and failed to hold Pakistan accountable. Today, a new India is rising. An India that doesn't forget, doesn't forgive, and doesn't rest until justice is delivered. 17 years after the bloodbath, we are still chasing down terrorists wherever they hide and making sure they face the consequences of their crimes. Meanwhile, Prithviraj Chavan of the Congress party has said, we demand that just like there was a proper trial under Indian laws for Ajmal Amir Kasab, he had the right to speak for himself and have a lawyer. He was given a lawyer and he had the opportunity to appeal in High Court as well as the Supreme Court. Judgment was pronounced after all of these. Similarly, when there is a trial for Tahawwur Rana, he too should be given legal rights and he will have to accept whatever punishment is given to him. A kangaroo court will not function in our country. Kamru Chaudhary is with us. We should have Shazia Almi of the BJP also joining us in a bit. Kamru Chaudhary, how would you see this? Did the larger question is this whole aspect of political lethargy shown? Now the BJP may call it appeasement. That's their politics. I'm asking you a straightforward question. Could there have been more alacrity, more intent shown between 2008 and 2014?
No, basically you see, I was going through the comments made by some of the BJP leaders out here and the debates going on from last night itself about his extradition to India. But basically my point of view will be like this: you can turn a legal process that took over a decade into a political victory, dilutes the bipartisan and the international legal cooperation it required. This undermines basically the work of the law enforcement agencies of India, not of BJP, not of Congress. and the prosecutors across 2 countries and multiple governments. It's not a case that whether UPA government has done justified itself or not. But the question remains out here that I will be asking from the other side of the political debate, that despite being in power for nearly a decade, from 2014 to 2023, the Modi government never made any visible diplomatic push, especially for Rana's extradition, until it became politically expedient. There no publicized high-level talks or fresh diplomatic initiatives by BJP or Ministry of External Affairs. It was in 2009 that the dossiers were prepared under Mr. P. Chidambaram as the Home Minister. It was submitted to the US authorities. The courts over there educated over the entire matter, and under an extradition treaty in 1997 signed by the Congress government that time, the UPA government that time, and the US authorities, that today this extradition was possible. It's a victory for India rather than looking as if it was a victory of Narendra Modi.
Of course, no.
There is no.
See, that is, like I said, I'm steering away from, you have the right to make your political point and tell the BJP that it's not victory for the BJP or PM Modi, it's the victory for Bharat. I agree with you, it's a victory for Bharat. Now, we may, at least we can agree on that. But the larger question, Kamru Chaudhary, is you and me were both around when 26/11 Mumbai attacks happened. You and me were both around when the Home Minister of that time was most busy changing clothes rather than looking at showing a certain level of alacrity. You and me were both around when we realized that how carefully this had been planned and how the higher echelons of our security establishment and also the governance had been caught unawares. But after that, 2009, 10, 11, 12, was there that kind of aggression and intent to show that, listen, you've dared unleash this kind of an act on my soil, I'm going to punish you to the tilt. And I am not going to relent till the time you relent and you make sure that these perpetrators, these villains are with us. When did we first get to go and interrogate David Coleman Headley? How long did it take? So those are questions. The alacrity part. Yes, it's become politically expedient, but there has to be an intent, right, to get this person across. Is that not a huge diplomatic thing? That someone who the Pakistanis have claimed is now a Canadian citizen, was incarcerated in America, is today in Bharat.
No, we can cite examples like we can cite about the Khalistani terrorist of Pannu, who attended the inauguration ceremony of Donald Trump out there in the US. What happened to him? He's a noted terrorist, designated terrorist by India. So this is not the case. You know, you go by the chronology that has happened since the 9/11 happened, since the 26/11 happened. Sorry. What did the UPA government do diplomatically and how far it has achieved in 2025, the diplomacy? The point is that the UPA government initiated the formal extradition request in 2009. How did it happen? When the Tahawwur Rana was arrested in the US following the revelation from David Headley. That's a fact that nobody can dispute this. But then the Ministry of External Affairs under UPA included Rana's name in the detailed dossiers presented to the US as part of India's official investigation into the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, marking him as a wanted co-conspirator in the case. Now you come to the basic part out here. We have seen that terrorists have attacked India. There were incidents of Pakistani-sponsored terrorism across India. Now, do you suggest that the Congress is complicit with Pakistani terrorists? I believe that will be very much a.
Did I make that suggestion?
No. Amit Malviya's tweet or the other BJP leaders coming out and
Charu
saying.
Charu Pragya will answer for the BJP. But my question to you, Kamru Chaudhary, is there is a thing called intent, no, Kamru Chaudhary?
Yes.
If you or me were there, would we actually show a certain line of defensive posture, or would we be all round aggressive in our posture and an approach? Saying, I will move mountain and sky to make sure that we are got. Or the other thing is, okay, we have to do this, we'll have to do this, we'll try this way, at least I'll try and push at a tree and hope that it will shake, because I know I cannot go ahead and move a mountain. See, that's the attitude part I was talking about. Charu Pragya, please respond. The BJP can't claim victory. This is Bharat's victory. It is a continuous effort over the last 17 years that this has resulted. You cannot take credit for it, is what Kamru Chaudhary is saying.
It is absolutely Bharat's victory, Anand. But it is Bharat's victory because we have a strong, powerful and a clear mandate government at the helm of affairs. Tell me, Mr. Chaudhary, if all of this was so easy, why did your government spend all its time doing mere lip service, whereas our government has delivered? Why your government could only shuffle some files and our government used diplomacy, legal tools, international pressure, whatever it took to make sure the impact was strong enough that we got the results that we desired. This is not just extradition. It's a message to terrorists, their handlers, to enemies of India that the new India is not going to forgive and forget and just pass off some papers and say we did our best. No longer that's going to happen. Wherever someone's hiding, whatever it takes, we are going to make sure that we do 100%. We do our absolute best to make sure our national security is never ever compromised again.
But
We have a zero tolerance policy.
Charupragya, you should also say that the court procedures have also taken their own sweet time. So governments have changed. And yes, the people of Bharat have voted PM Narendra Modi's government thrice. But had that not happened, then perhaps Rana's extradition could have happened under the aegis of a different government, because the cycle of time, the wheel of time turned in such a way that it landed right at this time. So that's part. But could that have been expedited? Could that have been speeded? That's one part. Just to the lady and the gentleman, please give me 5 minutes. I've just got.
Can I just add one quick thing, Anand?
Yeah, Mukul Rohatgi ji is also joining us. So I'll just quickly speak with him and then come back to you, Charupragya. Mukulji, namaste. This is Anand Narasimhan here. Thank you for your time. What happens next, sir? And there are two separate cases. So one in the NIA court, the other one in Mumbai. How does the legal process go forward from here?
Look, it's very, very clear that in the last 2 years, this extradition has moved swiftly. The Supreme Court of the US has moved swiftly. It cannot be but for the efforts of a strong government at the center in India. So all the credit really goes to the current government, to the Prime Minister, to the Home Minister and to the External Affairs Minister. From 2023 to 2024, all this has happened. And mind you, 2 attempts at the Supreme Court of the US in April now this year and January have also failed. And this man is the incarnation of evil. He is now in India in safe and secure hands. According to me, after the finding of the US courts that he was guilty of conspiring with Headley for these attacks and providing material, providing infrastructure, providing all other help, there is no doubt that there is only one penalty, and that penalty is death. There cannot be any other penalty for such an evil and a dastardly act by a man who's linked with lashkar-e-taiba. According to me, it is an open and shut case. What more is required to be proved? And Government of India has all the material and all the evidence, and large parts of the evidence has been relied upon by the US court, and that is final. So according to me, justice should be swift and should come down like a ton of bricks on this evil incarnate. That is what I feel should happen.
But Mukulji, is it possible to combine the two cases, one by the NIA court in Delhi and the other one that's been accepted or filed in a Mumbai court on the advice of the senior counsel or the ASG? Is that possible, so that it speeds up the entire judicial process?
Yes, so see, there is a procedure for transfer of cases to be heard with one or the other case. That provision for transfer can be used. Both cases can be in one court and they can be taken up simultaneously or one after the other, and the evidence in one can be read as evidence in the other. That is the need of the hour. According to me, within a year or two, this whole thing should end, and prompt punishment of the heaviest and the strictest and the harshest nature must be meted out to this devil incarnate.
Former NIA DG and also former Kerala DGP Loknath Behra ji said that if there is a special court that's set up under the aegis of the Honorable Supreme Court, then the whole trial process becomes very linear and it can be further expedited. Is that a fair suggestion? Would you advise that you consider?
There is a fair suggestion, mind you, my friend. Even for cases against MPs and MLAs, there are special courts under the direction of the Supreme Court many years ago, so that public should know that even MPs and MLAs are subject to, swift procedures of justice. If it can happen to them, certainly it can happen to such a dastardly act and a dastardly event.
The Congress, Prithviraj Chavanji has said that there should not be a kangaroo court trial. Like Kasab, he should be also given all judicial remedy and recourse, and there should be a lawyer and he should be given the right.
I am not saying no. Our constitution provides for justice to all. Justice, yes, but justice can be fast and swift. It doesn't mean that we have to go on for 20 years. And we have a template of the US courts. That's the end of the matter.
Mukul Rohatgi ji, thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for being as candid and straightforward as always. Lovely to speak with you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's go back to Charu Pragya and Kamru Chaudhary. So Charu Pragya, Mukul Rohatgi says, let's give him the right to justice, but not waste time. No more tariq pe tariq. And he said that it takes a strong and powerful government, Kamru Chaudhary, with intent to ensure that the process of justice, the wheels start moving faster. So you've got to have that trust so that the wheels start moving faster. Charu Pragya, complete please. I had to interrupt you.
And this is just taking forward the point I was trying to make, Anand. I am extremely proud that India is being led by such a decisive leader today. We have Modi ji, we have Amit Shah ji. Our external affairs minister has also been an absolute rock star. Understand that you did say that had it been any other government in power today, maybe a similar thing would have happened. I don't think so. You know why? Because we are not a government that just pleads. We are a government that is going to pursue justice, demand justice till we deliver it to our people. We are not the kinds who are just going to send one file from one place to the other. Do you remember how the government at that time acted when 26/11 actually happened? Do you remember how easily everything was let off? And compare that time to Pulwama. Compare it to how up till now we have not taken a break till we make sure that every single enemy of India has been got to task. So I'm sorry, I don't agree with you. Had it been any other government, they would have been complacent. This would have been brushed under the carpet like so many other very important issues of national security have been.
Well, interesting details that have just come out. Arunima has shared these details that a team of NSG officials secured Tahawwur Rana the moment he was handed over by the US authorities. The NSG team secured him throughout the flight. A dummy code was actually generated for the aircraft to avoid detection on one-source flight trackers so that there is no issue about where the flight is, what it is, and then a huge number of people coming and creating a security nightmare or some other incident being given perhaps anjam to, if I may say. Along with that, PMO monitored the movement of the flight on a real-time basis. So this is how Tahawwur Rana was brought back. Now, that's intent, Kamru Chaudhary. So you have to give that. Compared to home ministers and governments which said, "Hamare paas paisa nahi hai, extradition pe kharcha lagta hai, who will go all the way there, how can we do it, etc., etc."
No, you can legalize anybody you want, but the fact remains that the extradition by the US courts in 2024-25 was based on legal interpretation by American judges and not through diplomatic breakthroughs as Charu Pragya would have is suggesting out here. The US judiciary determined the charges met the treaty's conditions, that is the extradition treaty. It was not a new political achievement. If it was, 40 of our brave soldiers were martyred in Pulwama. Till date, we don't know what was the role of the BJP leader Devendra Singh. What was the role, who brought in the 500 kg RDX in the Pulwama. Till date, we have failed to identify the real culprits of those assassins of our brave soldiers. And here we come and say in a one-upmanship that look, this is because of the Iron Man, this is because of the Chappanis Chaura Prime Minister that we have been able to extradite.
No, 1 minute. Did the Home Minister of the country know that somebody was doing recce and there were going to be boats and 166 lives will be lost? What happened to the Home Minister of the country at that point in time? What was the Home Minister of the country busy doing? What was the security apparatus busy doing in 2008? What was it busy doing at that time? What was it busy doing when a serial bomb blast happened? 2011 also. Sir, we can keep asking these questions.
No, you can't claim credit for something that was
What I'm
started
asking
by
you
the
is
UPA
there
government
political intent?
and
All right,
come
one more,
patently
sir.
on the television and
One
say
more,
it's because of the masculine Modi ji.
No.
That,
So
Can I
the
just say
BJP
one
is
thing?
saying it. The BJP is saying we have shown intent, we have shown political intent. Congress is saying
No,
there is no.
no, absolutely not.
I am asking that was there
Absolutely
political
not.
lethargy compared to political intent right now? That's what I am asking.
There was.
Okay, wait.
Can I? Okay.
Charuji, 1 minute, just an update. Advocate Piyush Sachdeva from the Delhi Legal Services is going to represent Tahawwur Rana. He is already at the Patiala House Court, and there is talk that perhaps now Tahawwur Rana will be taken straight to the Patiala House Court. That's a possibility. Again, an update from Arunima. Yes, Charuji, complete.
So, you keep talking about one time of failure of a security agency, which you mention again and again. You forget that the thousands of times our authorities have been successful in their work. Nobody will ever know. Nobody will even talk about it. So please, I would rather we don't get into aspects
Charuji,
of how much
respect your
lethargy
views. What about
your
Daoud
government
Ibrahim
has
She didn't
done
interrupt
in
you. She
the
didn't
past.
interrupt you, please.
You could not even react militarily. That is the situation. We've had enough officials in the army speak out after 26/11. You could not even react militarily. That is the situation. That is how complacent you were.
There should have been a robust muscular response to tell the world you don't get into our backyard and mess with us.
Absolutely.
That many believe was missing. There was a weak intent saying, अरे आप थप्पड़ मार के चले गए, क्यों मारा, मैं जाके 4 लोगों को कंप्लेंट करूंगा. There was not a response saying तुम 1 मारोगे हम 10 मारेंगे. That was not there. That's what many believe. But I have to wind up on that note. Thank you for our guest. To our guests, the coverage is a continuous one. It's a rolling coverage. Both lawyers are in court. Anytime now we should see Tahawwur Rana being brought out around 8 p.m. is what we were told. Winding up on that note, brass tacks follows.
Brought to you.
Walk us through your thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. A deal's going to be made with China. A deal's going to be made with every one of them. And there'll be fair deals. I just want fair. There will be fair deals for everybody. But they weren't fair to the United States. They were sucking us dry, and you can't do that. Bond market is very tricky. I was watching it, but if you look at it now, it's beautiful. The bond market right now is beautiful. But yeah, I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy. I think everything had. Well, the big move wasn't what I did today. The big move was what I did on Liberation Day.